there comes a time in every man's life where he has to buckle down and sign role players for his fictional NBA team. In case you guys are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, that day is today. Today, we are jumping into free agency. As you can see, we're at the moratorium period right now. We're in day one, and we're going to be jumping into this and seeing who we can get. I mean, there's some decent players available, and as you guys know, we're going to need both forward positions, and we're probably going to need some guys to be like backups and maybe reserves as well. But so far, I like the way things are going. This offseason's been really, really nice so far. We had a great draft, so things are going our way. But taking a look at some of the small forwards, man, Brandon Ingram, he's a restricted free agent. He would be so interesting on this team, though. I'm not even gonna bother because I know, they're already giving him the qualifying offer, and that they're gonna match anything that I try to throw at him. It's just a given. It's just a given. Like, why wouldn't you? He's a very talented guy. Rodney Hood's interesting for sure. Let's see. We don't want Glenn Robinson back. He doesn't even want to come back. Torrey Craig's interesting. Lance Stevenson is a guy that I really, really like, and he plays in such a way that kind of fits this team. He's a B+ perimeter defender, an A- 3-point shooter, and he fits our system, at least our current system, like Lance Stevenson quite a bit, actually. Royce O'Neal is another guy who could really fit. I mean, a B perimeter defender and an A 3-point shooter, not bad at all. Kent Bazemore, and the fact that he's wanting a lot less money than what he was getting on his previous contract is kind of promising. That's a guy that we could possibly look at. He's a little undersized for a small forward, but still. TLC, this is a guy who I really like, at least in 2K, because he's just a lockdown defender and a guy that can hit threes. McKay Luke, he doesn't play great defense is the problem. So looking through some of these guys, I really like Torrey Craig, so I think we'll come back to Torrey Craig. Let's look at what he did last year, though. So he didn't really do a whole lot, but he was only getting about 12.5 minutes per game, and he played 62 games. He started 6, but he wasn't getting that many minutes. So, I mean, you can't really expect his numbers to be that great. All right, let's take a look at some power forwards now. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get Anthony Davis. He's going back to the Lakers, but I really like Davis Bertans, and I really like Christian Wood. I like both of these guys. Their system match is about identical at 2.5 stars. But, we could always work around that. Both guys aren't asking for crazy amounts of money, especially considering that they probably have quite a few years left in them. Bertans is a stretch 4, and so is Christian Wood. They both did very, very similar as far as performance goes from last season. Man, he shot almost 43% though from 3-point. Davis Bertans did. He's a really good player, but Christian Wood's a little younger. Let's see what else we got down here. Hollis Jefferson is a guy that I really, really like a lot. Let's see what else. Carmelo Anthony. Jay Crowder. This guy fits the bill for exactly the type of player we want on this team. Good basketball IQ, great defender. This guy is almost like a poor man's Draymond Green in a way. He can defend down low and on the perimeter, and he can shoot threes, at least to an extent. Let's see here. He's good athletically. I like him a lot, man, especially for his defense, and that's what we're trying to build towards, is a great defensive squad. If I can get my words out. Let's see what we can offer him. Like, what's the lowest we can offer him? I think I want a 1+1 with a team option just in case. We'll offer him that and see what he says. All right, so we got 2 more offers for today, and I think I want to offer to another one of these 3 guys, either Hollis Jefferson, Christian Wood, or Davis Bertans. So he's expecting just shy of $11 million a year. Wood is expecting very similar numbers. Let me see what I can get him down to. I think I definitely don't want 3 years flat. But maybe we could do like a 2+1. We definitely do maybe a 1+1. Should we do a 1+1? But we need to get this money down a bit. Let's get it a little closer to what he was actually expecting, which I think said like 11.33. Let's offer him that and see how he feels about it. Another thing I want to do is I want to get a mentor, a good mentor for some of these younger guards we have on our team. We already have Avery Bradley, who could be a good mentor. DJ Augustine could be a good mentor. Berea is the first guy I was kind of looking at. But DJ Augustine, he's got enough, doesn't have that many badges, but the ones he has could work for us. Let's see what else. Raul Neto, but he's not that old. I mean, he's only 28. Tremont Waters with an A minus 3-point and A minus perimeter defense. Even only at 5'10", I like him a lot, but he's young. Kyle Guy is another guy I like a lot. Here we go. Okay, so Corey Joseph is another guy that's not incredibly old, but he's a great defender. And even if he can't be a great mentor, I think he could be a good player if our guys go down, as a reserve. But it looks like, it looks like he was waived, and that this is the contract I have to sign him to, and I'm not doing that. So, you know what? I'll wait until the moratorium is over, and maybe we'll come back to Corey Joseph. All right, let's go ahead and advance and see what we got so far. All right, so Chris Dunn, I don't really think we need anymore. Let's see. Jay Crowder and Christian Wood look like they're both coming. Bryn Forbes has already said he doesn't want to be here. We saw that in the in the contract thoughts part of his of his screen, and so we're gonna go ahead and renounce rights on him. Biombo, and let's see here. All right, so I think I got everything sorted here now. Crowder, Wood, both still agree. We're in day 2. Taco Fall, hoping that we can get him back. I think we will be able to. And then Malik Beasley, we're going to match anything. Okay, so here we go. He's prepared to accept an offer from the Timberwolves. 3 years, $28.17 million. We're going to match that. That's less than $10 million a year for a guy who's just an absolute sniper from 3. And the way he did, as good as he did for us last season, there's no way I'm letting him walk. Dragic would be a great guy to have on the team, but he's not gonna be able to get a lot of playing time because we want to develop our 2 young guards. And now Corey Joseph, the contract is a lot more reasonable. All right, let's take a look at his badges. Let's see. All right, he's got playmaking, bailout, lob city passer, needle threader, and quick first step. So those aren't bad badges. Most of them are bronze except bailout. He could probably help Anthony Simons more than he could help Killian Hayes at this point. I mean, even if he can't help any of our guys as far as the mentor is concerned, like I said earlier, he's a good guy to have off of your, off your bench or as a reserve, because, like I said, he's a great defender, and just a good guy to have in the backcourt. But I wanted to pick up a guy like Rondo, but it just would be weird to not give him any playing time, and there's not a lot of playing time to be had at that position. So Corey Joseph signs, and now that we're at day 5, I think I want to go and see what the roster is looking like, because we might want to make some trades, or at least a trade. So we got Killian Hayes, Corey Joseph, and Simons. Of course, Simons and Corey Joseph will kind of be flip-flopped here. Simons will be the guy off the bench to come off the bench behind Killian Hayes. Beasley we got back, thank God. Avery Bradley, Jamias Ramsey, our rookie. Definitely want to get him into the G League or get him some playing time at some point in the NBA. LeCue is a guy who might be the odd man out here. We might look to trade LeCue, before we get out of this offseason. That's probable, as a matter of fact. Finney Smith, as you can see, I moved him back to his natural position at the 3. Then we've got Terrence Mann. Balmero is not going to be with us, obviously, for this season because he's a Euro stash. He'll be over with Barcelona in Spain. As you can see, we got the new addition, Christian Wood. Then we've also got Jay Crowder at power forward coming off the bench. So I think that those are 2 really great additions to the team. And then Smilagic, who is a guy who looks like he's progressed quite a bit. He's a 73 overall at this point. Then James Wiseman, he'll be starting for us, man. Cannot wait to see what that kid does, in his debut. And then Ed Davis off the bench behind him. But it'll actually be, and you guys will see this later, but as long as we can sign Taco Fall back, which I'm sure we will be able to, it'll be Taco Fall off the bench. All right, let's do a trade. All right, we're going to see what we get for LeCue. So let's go through these trades real quick. There's not many. There's only 10. All right, so we can get a draft pick from Miami straight up, a 22 first rounder. Let's see. We can get 2 first round picks from the Pacers for him and Terrence Mann. What else you got? House and a 22 first round pick from Houston. Another 2 first round picks from Oklahoma City. One of them's a swap best, one of them's protected. And then Portland is also offering 2 first-round picks, but they want a first-rounder in return. So there's some decent trades here, but let's see what else we might be able to do. All right, so I went over to Oklahoma City because they were offering 2 first-round picks. And instead of looking at those picks, I actually seen what they want. I was seeing what they wanted for Terrence Ferguson, and it looks to me like this trade could work for both sides. They get LeCue, who is just going to be buried in the depth chart at this point on our team. He's not going to get the playing time that I would like him to get to develop. And then Terrence Mann, who in a similar situation, but not quite as much. But Terrence Mann and Terrence Ferguson, it's kind of like like an even trade on as far as I'm concerned. And if we can get the protection off of this, they're not interested in this trade. We didn't want the protected pick, so I need to try to make this happen somehow, with them just giving us a straight up unprotected 2021. What if I give you we might have to. They're playing hardball, well, obviously, because we nerfed the trading. So we might have to give them something a little bit better. How about a 2024 first rounder? I don't really want to give that up, but to get a 2021 first rounder in return, I don't mind as much. Chris Paul's a year older. This team might be bad enough, at least, for this pick to be decent next year. Let's see if we can do this trade. They got a counter offer. Let's see. Okay, so they want us to put LeCue back in the trade. And they want to give us a 2021 first rounder. And us to also give them a 2023 second rounder, unprotected. And their first rounder from 22 is unprotected, but it's a Clippers pick. Which, for all intents and purposes, is kind of a second round pick. But I don't mind this trade, though. This trade could work out for us, especially because I think Terrence Ferguson is just as good as Terrence Mann. He's a little younger. He'll be expiring at the end of this year, but that's not that big of a deal. You know what? I think we might do this. Let's see here. 3-point B+. Perimeter defense B+. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this trade, actually. So, all right, yeah, I think, you know what? I think we can do this. I think this is the trade we're going to do. This probably will be the only trade we do in the offseason. They agree. So now we can move forward in free agency, and now we know exactly what else we need. We need another small forward, because now we've got Finney-Smith and Ferguson, and Balmero won't be here till next season. So we're going to need a third guy off the bench, preferably a veteran. So Torrey Craig was one of the guys I was looking at earlier. He's only expecting a minimum deal, and he's a good 3-and-D guy, a decent 3-and-D guy, at least, somebody who can be a reserve. And then Lance Stevenson, kind of the same deal. He's a veteran. Neither of these guys have enough badges to really be any significant mentor for our young guys, but, I still think that out of the guys that I'm seeing here, I still think that one of those two guys would be the best fit for us, at least right now, even if we only bring him in on like a 1-year deal. Yeah, so you know what? I think Torrey Craig is the guy that I'm going to offer the contract to. We'll see if he signs. If he doesn't, then we'll offer Lance Stevenson. I'm going to bump this down to about like $2 million for 1 year. That way we're not locked into anything. I mean, he's going to be on the wrong side of 30 by the time next year after rolls around. So he signs. So we got Torrey Craig as our, kind of like our third string. Could even make him our second string small forward if we really wanted to off the bench. But let's continue on through free agency, and hopefully, and we do. All right, Taco Fall accepts the qualifying offer worth $1.49 million. So he will be the guy. I know you guys are going to be very happy to hear this, but Taco will be the guy coming off the bench behind James Wiseman. And, of course, Ed Davis will kind of play like a reserve role. Guy that can be there, off the bench late in games, in garbage time, or also a guy who can come in if guys are really tired. And also, but the most important thing is him being a mentor. I want him to mentor James Wiseman. He's got the perfect badges to do so. And so having Ed Davis on the team still is very, very valuable, having him under contract. So definitely a guy we want to keep around at least for now. All right, so next up on the agenda, we've got player progression. But real quick, what I want to do is I want to go through and show you guys who was signed to what team. All right, so we've got Carmelo Anthony going back to the Knicks, which is extremely interesting. But, you know, we're looking more for the big signings. All right, so this isn't a big signing, but Jakob Poeltl to the Bucks is very interesting because, you know, he's going to provide some spacing for Giannis, and I think that could be a great fit there. And then Willie Cauley-Stein back to the Warriors. Marc Gasol to the Lakers on a 1-year deal. All right, they got him on the minimum. That's not a bad pickup for them. Tristan Thompson also to the Los Angeles Lakers, so he is going to reunite with LeBron James and hopefully lead them to a championship again. Once again, Tristan Thompson played out of his mind, by the way, in that you know, in that championship run that they had when they beat Golden State, coming back from 3-1. He was playing better than I've ever seen him play before then or since then. So if he could do stuff like that, he'll be really good for them. And then Rondae Hollis-Jefferson goes to the Knicks. That's a guy I wouldn't mind them having in real life, honestly. Dwight Howard to the Spurs. Okay, Spurs. Look, that might not be the best thing to have Pop coaching Dwight Howard. I'm just saying. Bryn Forbes goes to the Nets. Okay, so good riddance, Bryn Forbes. You didn't want to be around here anyway. Joe Harris to the Mavericks. That's another good signing. I think that he could work out pretty well for them. He spaces the floor, obviously. And, you know, they're going to have some good shooters on that team. Mason Plumlee with a 3-year, $23 million deal. Wow. Bulls paid him some pretty decent money. I mean, he's a good player, though. He's a good role player off the bench. Derek Favors back to the Jazz. Jabari Parker to the New Orleans Hornets. I'm sorry, the Charlotte Hornets. They are really putting together a pretty damn good front court. And then Serge Ibaka back to the Raptors. That was probably his plan all along. All right, so here's a big one. Hassan Whiteside to the Pistons for 4 years, over $100 million. Bogdan Bogdanovic goes to the Atlanta Hawks. So the Hawks made some noise in this offseason here. They drafted well and they pick up Bogey, so that's a pretty good pickup for them, honestly. I really like that. You know, him alongside Trey Young could be pretty dangerous. Davis Bertans to the Miami Heat. You got Danilo Gallinari going to the Trailblazers on a 3-year deal. And then as you can see right below that, Fred VanVleet going to the Kings on a 3-year deal. So that's also a pretty cool pickup. DeMar DeRozan also to the Atlanta Hawks on a 4-year, $122 million deal. So they were not playing any games this offseason, man. Good pickup. So the rest of this list are guys that are either re-signed or waived. So that pretty much brings us to the end of it. But be sure to stay tuned until the end of the episode, because those of you who asked me to put you in free agency were picked up and signed by NBA teams, and I want you guys to be able to see which team you were signed by. So stick around for that. But anyway, next up we've got player progression to go through. So let's see what we got here. And right off the bat, this has always been very confusing to me. We drafted James Wiseman at I think either a 79 or 80 overall. And it shows him as going up 1 to an 80 overall. So I don't know why this happens with rookies. But it's just, you know, it's kind of an oddity with 2K where this happens sometimes. I didn't touch this guy one bit, and it's showing him having progressed by 1 overall already. So I'm not really sure why, but something we got to deal with, I guess. Next up, you see our new addition, Christian Wood, stays exactly the same at an 80 overall, although his mid-range did go up a bit. Malik Beasley, his mid-range and his playmaking went up as well, but how do you stay as a 78 overall when you just came off a year where you're the most improved player and you drop 27 points per game? I mean, 26.8 points per game. Look at the numbers. He shot 40% from 3, almost 90% free throws. I don't, over a steal per game, 3 rebounds per game. I don't really get it why he would still be a 78, but hey, whatever. I mean, maybe he didn't. I don't get it. Moving on, you see Dorian Finney-Smith goes up from a 76 overall to a 77 overall. Here we go again with the rookies going up. We drafted Killian Hayes at a 76 overall, and it's saying that his inside scoring, 3-point scoring, perimeter defense, playmaking, and IQ and athleticism all went up, bringing him up from a 76 to a 77 overall. Not sure why, but I'll take it. Next up, we've got Jay Crowder, another one of our new additions. Goes up from a 75 to a 76 overall, so you love to see that. His inside defense even got better, so that's perfect for what we were looking to do with him. We want him to be a defensive guy off the bench for us. Avery Bradley, even later on in his career, still progressing. It looks like all of his attributes went down, but somehow he went up to a 75. So, hey, I'll take that as well. Anthony Simons going up 2 overall. He's our biggest mover so far, from a 72 to a 74. This is a guy who I've said it a million times, got high hopes for him. Not sure whether he's going to develop into a 1 or a 2, but either way, he's going to be a solid piece off the bench for us this season, and I cannot wait for that. Going to get him a lot of playing time, and hopefully see some big improvements from him. Corey Joseph, another one of our new additions, even at 28 years old, going up 1 overall. And then you've got Terrence Ferguson, another big mover, at 2 overall, going up from a 72 to a 74. Guy that we acquired via trade from the Thunder. He's only 22 years old. We don't really consider that. It seems like he's been in the league longer. But this is a guy who still has plenty of potential. Then you see we've got Torrey Craig, another one of our free agent additions. He stays the same at a 74 overall. Smailagic going up 2 from a 71 to a 73 overall. I know I noticed that in the roster screen when we were there. Then Balmero. So this is one of the rookies that went down in overall. He went from a 72 to a 71, allegedly, but I'm almost 100% sure that when we drafted him, it said he was a 71 overall, as he was right out of the draft. So I don't know why it says he went down 1. As you can see, Ed Davis, our veteran big man, our veteran mentor, went down 3 overall from a 73 to a 70. Pretty sure he was a 74 overall, though, so he might have even gone down even more. And then Jamias Ramsey, another one of the rookies that's showing that he went up in overall, but I am 100% sure was a 70 overall when we drafted him. So I went through the recap. He was one of only like 5 or 6 guys in the second round that were a 70 plus. Then Taco Fall, as you can see, didn't move at all in his overall, but he did go up in his rebounding, and that is something that is very promising. Glad to see that. Went down in inside scoring, but again, we'll mentor him, we'll train him, and we'll work on all that stuff for this upcoming season. So next up, as you can see, we've got our training camps, and instead of just throwing them all into untapped potential by default, I think I want to use 2 untapped potentials and maybe use one of something different on like a guy like Anthony Simons or something like that. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we're at least going to use untapped potential on Wiseman and probably Killian Hayes. So let's use the first one on Wiseman. He goes from an A+ to an A+, but he still goes up in his potential by 3. If it was maxed out, the game would tell us. So he still goes up. And let's see, we'll also use our untapped potential on, I'm pretty sure I want to do it on Killian Hayes. Of course, it would be, we could do it on a guy like Simons, but we'll bring Killian Hayes from an A to an A+ potential. Love to see that. This guy, I'm hoping he develops into what I'm thinking he will be or could be. And then we'll also, I think we're going to use combo guard on Anthony Simons, because this is going to not only help his playmaking, but it's also going to help out a little bit with his shot. So it goes up 2 overall in his pass accuracy, pass vision, which as you can see he needed, IQ, pass IQ, ball handling, mid-range shot, and draw foul. So these are all things that are perfect and exactly what we need for him, because we want him to be a better playmaker, because what I'm hoping is that he'll develop into a point guard, our point guard of the future, or one of them. And, but if he develops into a shooting guard, man, if he's a 2, that's perfectly fine as well. He might be able to do, be like a Lou Williams type of role. Not that he'll be as good as Lou will, but still, he can still fill that style of role for us in the future, hopefully, if he doesn't develop into a true point guard. Well, boys, here we are. We've made it through the offseason. There's nothing left to do other than to advance into next season, into the 2021 season. Next episode, I'm going to be going through our entire coaching game plan. I'm showing you guys the things that I've changed, showing you our entire rotation, what guys are getting what minutes, things like that. And then we're also going to look over our entire schedule and decide which games we want to play throughout the season. And we're going to jump in and play our first game of the season against whoever that might be. I'm hoping it's against one of the teams that has signed one of you guys in free agency, one of the #add players that you guys asked me to add in free agency. There, of course, were plenty of you guys who decided that you guys, you wanted me to either add you to 2K21 or you wanted me to add you to the next draft class, which was perfectly fine. But there were some of you who wanted me to add you to free agency, and that is exactly what I did. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys which of those players were signed, because all of the guys that I added were signed because they were decent enough potential for NBA teams to be interested. So I'm going to go through and show you which players were signed to which NBA teams. Now, if I did miss any of you guys' comments telling me to put you in this year's free agent class, make sure to let me know on this video, and I'll be sure to get you in there because teams will sign free agents throughout the season as well. So if you do want me to throw you into the free agent class, be sure to let me know. But these were the players that I added in based off the comments from the last video. And I added him into the off-season free agency class. And, hopefully you guys are happy with where you were signed, which NBA teams signed you. So hashtag add player, here we go. The first guy up, Sebastian Wynn, was signed by the Sacramento Kings. Next guy up on the list, as you can see, Adam Bradbury, who was signed in the offseason by the Portland Trail Blazers. Next guy up on the list, Jamison Powell, who was signed by the Los Angeles Lakers, and dare I say, he might actually even start for them. Next guy on the list, signed by the Milwaukee Bucks, Vinicius Cruz. Hope I pronounced that right. The next guy up on the list, signed by the Indiana Pacers, Tanner Hodzic, and I hope I pronounced that right. Next up, we have Aiden McCauley, who was signed by the Houston Rockets, so he gets to play alongside Harden and Westbrook. And last but certainly not least, a hashtag ad player who was signed by my favorite team in real life, the New York Knicks, Tyus Crawford. So like I said before, if you wanted to be added to this free agent class and you commented that on the last video and I missed it, be sure to comment it down below on this video and let me know that, and I'll try to throw you in there. Hopefully NBA team will be interested enough during the season to pick you up. I'm giving you guys decent enough potential, so hopefully they'll be interested. Now, one other thing I wanted to let you guys know, if you see the number that you picked and it's not the number that, if you see your number on here, it's not the number you picked, it's because that team didn't have that number available. So that is going to do it, boys, for this episode. Like I said earlier, be sure to keep a lookout for next episode because we are going to be playing our first game of the season with our new rookies, our new free agents. I am very, very excited about this team, man. Like, I'm a lot more excited about this team than I was about the Wildcats team after our first offseason. I think this is going to be an awesome team. We have a decent enough bench to have some really fun games, and I'm hoping to play some games during the regular season against at least a few of these teams that have picked up your hashtag ad players. So that's going to be really fun as well. Be sure to give me you guys' opinions down in the comments and let me know what you thought about this offseason, if we did a good job, not just the draft, not just free agency, but the offseason as a whole. Give me a grade and let me know, how you guys think that we did. A lot of the moves and picks that we made were based off of you guys' suggestions. So I hope you guys are very happy with the team as it sits right now. But anyway, I cannot wait to see you guys back for the next episode where we will be playing our first game of the new season. Until then, I will catch you guys next time.